Oopsies. Okay, so verse 3 and 4 are together. Karmani deha yogartham deha yoge priya priye dhruve syatam tato rago dvesha shreva tata kriyaha dharma dharmau tato gyasya deha yogas tatha punaha evam nitya pravritto yam sansarascha shravadsham. Actions, both enjoined and prohibited, bring about one's connection with the body. When the connection with the body has taken place, pleasure and pain most surely follow. Thence come attraction and repulsion. From them, actions follow again, as results of which merit and demerit appertain to an ignorant man, which again are similarly followed by the connection with the body. This transmigratory existence is thus going on continually forever like a wheel.
So we have this sansara, the world of coming and going. The karma chakra. Chakra means a wheel, the wheel of cause and effect. And what Shankara says here, the root of it all is identification with the body. From that identification of the body, then I have sensory experiences which the mind interprets as conducive and non-conducive, which then impels me into action. I go after the conducive environments. I avoid the non-conducive environments. And if it's done egoistically, I like that person. I want to hang out with that person. I love that person. Antithetically, I don't like that person. They're not meeting my needs. I don't like that place. These leave impressions in the unconscious, these vasanas, which then continue to impel us. Desire and action. For most of us, our ordinary mind state is restlessness. I'm uncomfortable. Understand that's a spiritual hangover. Go out with some friends Friday night, someone's having a birthday and they order champagne, it's cheap champagne. A little more than you usually do. How do you feel Saturday morning? Oh God, I'm nauseous, my head hurts. Maybe I have the flu. I do not know what's going on. Let me take a lot of cold medicine. Not understanding, oh, you're hung over, Jim. You have essentially alcohol poisoning. You have the inevitable result of last night's indiscretion. So if I'm disturbed, if I'm uncomfortable, if I'm longing, wanting things different, deep, deep soul discontent, agitation. What is that? That's vasana pressure. That's our direct experience of it. Its cause is our indiscriminate revelry with the objects of the senses in the past. But my mind is deluded by it. I think I'm lonely. I think I'm annoyed. I think I'm not getting my needs met. I think everybody's doing it wrong. I need to control. And part of the power of Maya is I think it's the world or me that needs to be fixed. This is probably the most difficult thing for yogis to grasp, let alone normies out there in the world, ordinary people, they don't even think about it. But even after we've heard the scriptures, such is the power of Maya, my mind still presents the struggle of ego as real. Now, if I'm hungover Saturday morning, what should I do? Well, for God's sake, don't have a Bloody Mary. That only keeps the cycle going. Drink your water, have your vitamins, eat healthy. And if you've got a splitting headache, it will pass. That's all we can do. There's no magic bullet. There's no pill we can take to deal with the problem of human suffering. We have to be willing to go through the manual process. But Shankara in other texts will say, at least don't embrace a rotting corpse thinking it's a beautiful bride. We may not be able to stop the compulsive reaction to the world, but at least see it for what it is. Again, Fang and I were talking before class, and I was sharing with her, when I would see my mind in the state of longing and craving, first of all, if you watch, it's so boring. It's so repetitive. I mean, isn't that our experience? Mm-hmm. Who got upset this week? Tell me it's the first time you've had this reaction. You've had this feeling that this situation has arisen in your life. None of us are kids. It's so repetitive and boring. Yet, in ignorance, the mind presents the same solution. Let me rearrange matter. So we develop mature dispassion by being awake enough to see the inherent defects of the process of boga. Boga yoga is I want to be happy. I think getting what I want will make me happy. And the end result is more desire. So this is a person who's caught up in the wheel of karma, the wheel of action, the wheel of birth and death. Again, you don't have to believe in reincarnation, although that's what the scriptures teach. You can look at it simply within the context of one linear lifetime. Have I gone from relationship to relationship? Have I gone from job to job? Have I gone from friend to friend? Have I gone from home to home? Thinking, be happy when, better if I just control circumstances, I'll be okay. What the guru says is, how is that working out for you? Any thoughts on this? Next verse.
Ajnanam tasya moolam syaditi taddani bhishyate brahma vidyat arabdha tato nishreyasam bhavet. The cessation of ignorance is desirable, as it is the root of this transmigratory existence. Hence, a delineation of the knowledge of Brahman through which comes liberation from ignorance is commenced.
Yes. So, what is my problem? My problem is I think I'm a person with breath in my nostrils. I think I'm separate from a world. I think I'm not enough. It's not enough. Ignorance tells me more, better, different. Shankara here is saying, actually, your problem is ignorance of your essential nature. I see the rainbow in the sky, and I've been told there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I get in my car and I keep driving to find the end of the rainbow. How's that working out? The damn rainbow keeps moving. How am I going to find the pot of gold? As long as I believe in the falsehood, there's no resolution. But if I inquire, investigate, why does the damn rainbow keep moving? Oh, I've been told it's an optical illusion. It's actually sunlight being refracted through moisture in the atmosphere. There's no bow there. That's why I never get any satisfaction. Can't find the damn pot of gold. So also, the antidote to ignorance is knowledge, not action. Now, let's sophisticate this. Our methodology, the inquiry, is what we call Viveka, the discrimination between the seer and the seen. Atmanan Atman Vivechana, discrimination between the self and the not self. So I like to use this example. If I were to give you a bowl filled with rice and raisins and say, would you separate the rice from the raisins? Might be tedious, but you could do it. It's very clear that rice and raisins don't look the same. Then if I say, okay, this is long grain white rice and wild rice, can you discriminate, separate them? Yeah. Wild rice is dark, long grain rice is white. Then if I say, well, can you separate long grain rice from short grain rice? Ooh, that's a little harder. I have to look more close. But if I say, can you separate Indian basmati rice from long grain Minnesota rice? Boy, that would be very difficult. Because though they are different, the difference is so subtle. So it's very easy for me to know I'm not a table. I'm the one looking at the table. A little more difficult to see I'm not my body. My body is an object of awareness. A little more challenging to see I'm not my feelings. Many of us, I'm upset. I think I am those feelings. I'm identifying with thoughts. I have a memory of this trauma. That's who I am. But the thought of self and the real self, that's so subtle. The mind needs to be incredibly quiet, incredibly still, to be able to discern the difference between aham and ahamkara. It's not easy. And then we have to deal with the habit of the mind. Changing a habituated way of thinking. So at the end of the prose section, we were introduced to the idea of repetition. What's called jnana akasa, the practice of knowledge. Now, if we're fortunate enough to have a very deep nirvikalpa samadhi, ignorance is dispelled immediately. You see what's real. Maybe little vestiges of ego that arise for a while, but you know it's not true. In the meantime, we have to remind ourselves, I'm not the body, I'm not the personality. I'm not unhappy because the world isn't behaving. I'm unhappy because I think I'm a person. I'm unhappy because my mind says more, better, different. Next verse.
There are two verses again. Vidyo vagyana hanaya na karma pratikulataha na jnanasya prahanehi ragadveshaksho ragadveshakshayo bhaved. ragadvesha kshaya bhave karma dosham shadbhavam dhruvam tasmani shreyas satharya vidyavatra vidhiyate. Not being incompatible with ignorance, actions do not destroy it. It is knowledge alone that does it. Ignorance not being destroyed, the destruction of desire and aversion is not possible. Actions caused by impurities are sure to follow in case desire and aversion are not removed. Knowledge alone, therefore, is taught here so that liberation from ignorance may be accomplished.
Yes. So he's again driving home this point. Actions will not solve the problem. It will give us a temporary respite at best. Desire and object of desire become one. For a brief moment, the mind gives up its longing. I got what I want. But as long as I'm still in the state of ignorance, where I believe, raga, dvesha, raga, desire for things, dvesha, aversion. Acting on that's going to fix stuff. I'm always trying to control everything. Here Shankara says that's a never-ending process. And the more I get what I want, the more stuff I want. It is like thinking that the way to solve the problem of a fire is to give it fuel because it's hungry. What happens when you give the fire fuel? It gets bigger. Just gets bigger. So Shankara says the antidote to ignorance is knowledge, not action. Then why do the Vedas give us actions? We have to understand sequence. Actions are given to those deeply engaged in the world because of deeply rooted ignorance. Their minds are not subtle enough to receive the knowledge. Go through Atma Vidya. Next week, the student comes back. My blah, 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 blah. My blah, 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 blah. My blah, blah, blah. I blah, 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 blah. I blah, 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 blah. No play. Such is the power of ignorance. Such is the power.
I have a question.
Please.
Two questions. When you said actions are given, are you talking about yamas and niyamas here, or are you referring to other actions?
Yamas and niyamas are actions, but any action. Should I let go of this friend or not? That's an action. Should I go on a date with this fellow? That's an action. Should I change my job? That's an action. Should I get different roommates in my house? That's an action. Should I move to Chicago? That's an action.
I think I'm recognizing two things. One is when I try to control situation, it's primarily based on fear that if I don't take action, something bad is going to happen, right? So even though to some degree I see that there is a lack of knowledge there and a lack of trust, because if I had that trust, I wouldn't try to control so much. I guess the idea is just to sit with the fear until it settles and then see what to do about it afterwards.
Fear is, in my opinion,
Mhm.
the chief activator
Right.
of virtually all our character defects. All of our kleshas are
Mhm.
afflictions. All of our doshas are defects.
Mhm.
You're absolutely spot on. But what am I afraid of? That's the interesting question. I'm afraid I'm not going to get what I want, so I won't be happy.
Mhm.
I'm afraid I can't get rid of the stuff that's making me so unhappy.
Mhm.
Or I'm afraid I'm going to lose what I have.
Right.
Or I have an existential fear.
Right.
I will be cast into some abyss someplace.
Right.
Be a bag lady pushing a shopping cart.
Mhm.
I'll be totally alone. Everybody will know what an imposter I am. It takes many, many forms. You're absolutely right on. Self-realization frees us from what I call existential fear.
So the idea is in some ways right now to ignore as much of the fear as possible, not suppress it, but just don't focus on the fear and focus instead on trying to focus on realization.
Understand, if you take fear, F-E-A-R,
Uh-huh.
false evidence appearing real.
Uh-huh.
That's what fear is.
Right.
What do? F-E-A-R. Face everything and realize.
Can you explain what face everything means?
That means if, let's say I'm lonely.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, I was watching the news and they were saying that's like one of the major mental illness things in America.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Is loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
What does ego say? Ego says, I'm lonely. I need people. But people irritate me. That's one of the really weird things about our fears. I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of having people around me because I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid of being successful. I'm afraid of failing.
Mm-hmm.
We look at these double binds that we put ourselves in.
Right.
So the mind in ignorance says, solve the struggle of ego.
Mm-hmm.
Go find the perfect friend. Go find the perfect partner.
Mm-hmm.
Go find the perfect whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're disappointed, which then makes me angry.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what happens. Anger is thwarted desire, unmet expectation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yoga says, just don't do something, sit there. But it hurts. It's so weak.
And eventually it just dissipates, right?
You've been on what, 2 meditation retreats?
Yes.
What happens when you do nothing and you just sit there?
It keeps on coming up though, Jim. I feel like my fear is just everlasting. That's what it, I know it's not, but that's what it kind of feels like. It doesn't go away.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
The fear comes up. It will last maybe anywhere from a minute to 20 minutes. Then you're hungry, and then your back, it hurts, and then your nose itches, and then you're thinking about the person who's breathing too hard, 2 rows in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wondering what they're going to serve for lunch. That's what really happens. You're not constantly fear. Does it arise again? Of course it does. But in time, when your mind begins to see it's fundamental unreality. It's just a thought. What am I afraid of? Nobody's putting bamboo under my fingernails. A place to sleep tonight. I have food. No body parts are falling off. I'm okay. It's all going to work out.
And then regarding the loneliness, would that also be the same? Just sit with the loneliness until it also
Absolutely.
dissipates.
It's just a mind state.
But it might take a while, right? It's not you can expect one sit and then it's
Can't
over.
even tell you how long
Right,
it will
okay.
take.
Mhm. But the thing is, the idea is sit and don't do anything. Don't try to go into the external world and try to solve the loneliness by finding like a friend or finding like a partner. Because I hear what you're saying, but I guess my question is, what if it takes like months or years to sit without loneliness until it dissipates? Does
You
that mean
can
you
do
don't?
whatever you want
Okay.
as a yogi.
Uh-huh.
But what you're asking me is, I really, really want golden honey flavored nectar in a
Mhm.
bucket.
Mhm.
The bucket's empty. I don't care. How many times do I have to keep tipping the bucket up to get the golden flavored golden nectar? There's no nectar there. Yeah, but it keeps coming up, the desire to drink it.
Mhm.
Knock yourself out. Go to it as many times as you want. But it's never going to work because there's nothing real there.
I hear you. I guess my question was, if you're already disconnected from people and that's what's causing the loneliness, and you sit by yourself and try to dissipate the loneliness, and you don't talk to anybody, and you don't try to seek out friendships or connections with people, it's not just going to make the loneliness even worse. Or my
Why don't you experiment? Your mind is still telling you, I don't have what I want.
Mhm.
Getting what I want will make me happy.
Mhm.
All I can say is you're not a young woman.
Mhm.
How's that worked out for you?
Mhm.
I was talking with a student, a friend, who broke up with his partner.
Mhm.
And oh God, I love this person so much. Over and over again, the same relationship, only the names and faces change.
I guess the thing is, I do feel less lonely when I hang out with really good friends, though.
You say that again?
I do feel less lonely when I hang out with really good friends.
Of course.
So
Knock yourself out. I'm only sharing with you what the scriptures say, what my own experience is. Now, what you will find, at least what I have found,
mhm.
I'm not a lonely man.
Mhm.
I have incredible people in my life.
Mhm.
I have you in my life. You're rather marvelous,
Thanks, Jim.
but I don't want anything from you. I just enjoy you when you're here.
So like the spirit of friendship in the sense of non-attachment, basically.
That's what I do. But I have, very deeply experiential beliefs. First of all, I'm very clear
Mhm.
that I cannot meet your needs.
Right. Mhm.
I don't even try.
Mhm.
Very clear. Nobody out there can meet mine.
Mhm.
Swamiji was incredible to watch him. His love would be just there, whoever was in front of him. And he was indiscriminate. There'd be some dude at a camp, and he would be just driving everybody nuts. And Swamiji would love him. And then he'd leave for a year, never see him again. I never got a phone call or a letter from Swamiji. Hey, Jim, how are you doing? Not once. But he answered every letter sent me. And your mind, not just yours, all of our minds say, yeah, but this issue is real. You know what our minds do? The world may be an illusion, but you don't have to live with my husband. Isn't that what our minds do? He behaves on Monday, Tuesday. Oh. If only he'd be Monday all the time.
How important is it for us to control our minds?
How important is it?
Yeah.
The image that Shankara uses, it's like a child playing with a rubber ball on the top portico of a South Indian temple.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at South Indian temple, they're like step tall pyramid-y kinds of things. So if the child is playing with a rubber ball on the top and she loses control of the ball, it hits one step. If she doesn't grab it just then, it goes ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. So that's how the mind works. We have some capacity. When a thought, an illusory thought arises, I'm not going to believe you. Oh, Shiva. But if the illusory thought comes up, that person is so bad. How could they have said that to me? And all the other times they've said all those things, and I've done so much to them and they don't appreciate it. You know? Oh, and they're just like that other person that was like that. What's the matter with my life? I keep having all these people and they never treat me very well. What am I going to do? You know? Ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk.
So the idea is without ka-chunk, 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 you're still going to take actions, right? And in some ways, the actions that you take without all that mental looping can potentially be better than if you.
What action are you talking about?
Well, so for example, an example that you just gave, which is about like social relations, right? Let's say you decide to take action on whether or not you want to continue seeing these people.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Actions do not free us because actions are not contradictory or in conflict with the problem. The problem is spiritual ignorance.
But the dharma in the body is karma, and it's something you have to take action anyhow, right?
Forget the body, it will do its thing.
Okay.
It will stay alive as long as it has prarabdha.
Okay.
If you're unhappy, the problem is you're in the mind state of ignorance. Solve the problem.
Okay.
That's like the person who's hungry and someone says, have you tried a bath?
Mhm.
Well, that didn't seem to work. Maybe if you got a new dress. I'm still hungry. Well, a hat's gonna fix it.
Mhm.
Go for a bike ride. But I'm still hungry. Why? Because clothes, hats, bike rides are not opposed to hunger.
Mhm.
What do you do when you're hungry? What's the antidote
You
for
eat.
hunger? You eat.
Mhm.
If you're restless, irritable, and discontent,
Mhm.
your problem is spiritual ignorance.
Okay.
Now, you can do whatever you want. But for the yogi, she understands the doing has very little to do with the problem. It will at best be a temporary respite.
I guess my question maybe wasn't clear, which is you take action after you've resolved whatever
You
that.
might, you might not. I can't tell you.
Okay.
Turn your mind away from the action. Right here, right now. Is some friend who's problematic calling you up or
No.
texting you?
No.
No. Doesn't exist. There's no real problem.
Thanks, Jim.
No, and again, no blame.
Mhm.
That's what the mind does.
Mhm.
Ignorance is so powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you don't understand, Jim. My problem is real. My problem needs action.
Mhm.
Please read the English, what Shankara just said.
Not being incompatible with ignorance, actions do not destroy it. It is knowledge alone that does it. Ignorance not being destroyed, the destruction of desire and aversion is not possible.
Yes.
Mhm.
He couldn't make it any clearer. Now, this UpadeshaSahasri, literally it means 1,000 teachings.
Mhm.
So my take so far is each one of these little verses,
Mhm.
it's like a slogan you can tuck in your mental pocket. This is a good one for you. If you can commit this to memory and remember it will help you when you're suffering. Now, please understand, you are simply poster child for what all the rest of us are going through. Please, you are not unique in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
Only the script of the drama is different.
Mhm.
Please read it again.
Not being incompatible with ignorance, actions do not destroy it. It is knowledge alone that does it. Ignorance not being destroyed, the destruction of desire and aversion is not possible.
Yes. If I think I'm a person, my mind will present change the world, change me. That seems real. It will present, take an action. Shankar is saying the problem, the root of the problem is I think I'm a person. Stop. Surrender. remember who you are. And you've heard me talk about that terrible demon Yevat.
Mhm.
You hear it. Yeah, but what about?
Mhm.
Yeah, but what about? Isn't that what our minds do? Snake in the rope. Well, but this is a pretty powerful snake. You don't understand, Jim. This is real.
The problem's the demon itself.
Problem is ignorance.
Yeah.
Problem is Jiva Bhavana. I think I'm a person. Once that arises, which is like a dream state, to the dreamer, they need to solve the problems in the dream. They don't even know that they're dreaming.
Mhm.
The state of the waker never even occurs to their minds. Every once in a while, we have a lucid dream. Oh, wait a minute, I'm dreaming.
Mhm.
So what Shankara is saying is, if in the dream state of ignorance, you can remember who you are,
Mhm.
you have a chance of getting out. If you can't remember who you are, back up to the karma kanda. Selfless service, devotional practices, pray. If, on the other hand, ego is so strong, all your mind will say, what about me? How do I get mine? And that's the most painful place for them. It's all about me. It's all about me. Jim, I'm into self-love. Oh, that you were into self-love. Oh, God, that you were into self-love. Your self is love.
What do you do though when your mind has, that ball has fallen all the way downstairs, and like it's the heat of the moment, prayer's not gonna do it, you're forgetting things? What do you do?
It will pass. And in the end, you go to the bottom of the temple and get your own. You go back, read some scripture, meditate, remember who you are. And it does you no good to think, how could I have avoided getting so identified? So Aditi is into dance. She's now studying this wonderful classic Indian form. I'm a retired musician. One of the things about dance and music that you learn is you have to have instant amnesia. If you mess up and have a false step, what happens if you start thinking about the mistake you made 2 minutes before in the music?
You're gone. The rest of it gets messed up.
Yeah. You have to have instant amnesia. Forget it. Stay in the now. What do I do next? Same thing with music. That's what a yogi needs to do. I promise you, until steady wisdom dawns on the mind, you're going to screw up. Then forget it and do your best. According to the clock, the day starts when the sun comes up. The neat thing for a yogi is you can start your day over at any moment. Now, forget the whole morning. This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. That's what the Hebrew psalmist says. All right. I like this poetry. It's good stuff. These are simple ideas, but it's very clear that they're not easy to internalize. We'll end here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you all.